All right. Welcome back to the Culture Student Podcast. We got on a nice guest on here, Prof. Goodwin, if he can introduce himself, occupation, anything.
Okay. Nate Goodwin, assistant business professor at Southern Nazarene University, and this year I'm teaching entrepreneurship and ethics and business principles, and I love what I do.
Okay, like to hear that.
We had Professor Goodwin in our first semester of college. He was my business ethics professor, actually, so we got to build a relationship, get to know him a little bit, and he's not your everyday professor, right?
Not like the rest.
He's a little cooler, I would say. A little cooler, more relatable. He likes some things we like, so we'll dive into that. So just to get it going, what are some things you enjoy doing that most people wouldn't think professor? When you come to your first year, you're probably thinking, heavy in the books, super professional, doesn't really like hoop. I guess in a way. But what do you do that you enjoy doing that maybe people wouldn't expect?
Well, I actually just released a modeling and acting website, Nathaniel-Goodwin.com, where it talks about my modeling accomplishments and my acting accomplishments, and I wanted people to be aware that besides being a professor, that I do other things, just like you said. Because I think it's about having fun, being passionate about many things that you enjoy.
For sure.
I think that's very important. You said you got a website, so what's the website kind of about a little bit?
We'll drop it in the...
we'll put it in the
So basically what the website is, it's like an autobiography about me. So it talks about how at one time I was Mr. Oklahoma for Cosmopolitan's Bachelor of the Year contest. And it talks about everything like my fashion shows that I've done and just commercials that I've filmed. It's just people to see everything. And I actually have a blog on it as well too, where I talk about what's going on and things that I'm interested in. Because one thing that I'm really passionate about is I collect old X-Men cards.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, so 1992 masterpieces. So I'm just gonna walk through. I have the sets of all those cards, and I'm just gonna walk through what each of those cards mean to me, just because I enjoyed collecting them when I was a young kid.
So it's kind of like a nostalgic thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's the memory, just because. Cool. Yeah, especially X-Men blowing up. I just think that just looking at those cards, I just remember going to the card shop and just being excited about getting these cards every single weekend.
That's dope.
All right, that's cool. Because I know a lot of people like post things on media and different things that they probably shouldn't be posting that people don't need to see. But you got a nice professional page that actually super interested in something cool that people will be like, oh, this dude is mad cool, relatable. If they was looking at you business-wise, and he said he's not only a business dude, he's cool, and then he's about that, and he ain't got no bad records on his media or nothing like that. So I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it surprises a lot of people, especially now. The cars that I collected in the '90s, these sets are selling for $1,000, just because it's just hard to get the sets because there's a limited amount of getting in mint condition, and they just mean a lot. That's one thing that I've really prided myself on is over the years is being able to have mint condition cards and just kind of look back and just reminisce about the memories.
That's dope.
That's nice.
And as you say that, I used to collect, when I was in my younger years, I used to collect Pokemon cards. This is going to be funny. I used to collect Pokemon cards, and it didn't just end there. I would get cards, and I would go to tournaments they had on the weekends. I would go, my mom would take me, my brother and I, we would go, and I would always battle these, these dudes were older, they had, it was all ages. It wasn't just young people. That's when I got into it. And, they had sophisticated decks, right? They had all the cool cards and these good strategies. I was over here playing my but then I learned from that, and I started figuring it out. Okay, they have this deck. He's going YouTube. Let me put together a deck. And I remember one tournament, I put together a deck that was unorthodox. It's a little off topic, but it's memories. Went over there and beat everyone. The guys that I could never beat, Justin, right? And then I remember I played this one kid, and I got a little film myself. This dude was like me, right? Before I did all this. And I think I misplayed something. I did I played a card that allowed me to go back on my deck, but I didn't pull a card or something, and I got DQ'd because of that. But I was whooping on him. So I got DQ'd, would have went undefeated. But yeah, so the tournaments had packs. You can get, if you win, you get, so the winner, everyone puts in $5. The winner got the money, and the money went towards Pokemon packs. And you would get 15, 20, and if you do the math, that's almost $100 worth of cards.
Yeah.
So it was really competitive, and I'm glad you said that. I didn't go too much off topic, but that reminded me of my childhood.
Funny memory.
No, I think it's good. Just kind of nostalgia. Just remember, you guys remember that game Pog?
Pog.
Oh, we had the slammers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you hit the people?
Yeah. So it's you had these big slammers, and you would just try to would go during outside and lunch, and basically we would just I had this master slammer, man. It was huge, man. It was like when I wanted to win, I'd be like, you know what? I'd kind of hustle people. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be like, I have a regular pog, like playing with friends, but when it came to like serious, like I'm trying to take someone's pogs, I'd pull out my master slammer.
Oh wow!
And I would just pull it out and just slam it down, and then it was my go-to. It would help me win. But unreliable, yeah. But see, I wouldn't pull it out unless I was like in a serious setting where I wanted to win. But I mean, I think it's just interesting having kids just doing something productive outdoors now.
Sure. That's true.
I feel like that. We kind of talk about that sometimes. I think we lack that really nowadays.
Yeah.
Everything is online, like everything you can do on your tablet. They have all these like, you know, the metaverse. Have you heard about that?
Metaverse?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Things like that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's coming out, but everybody's online nowadays. They get into VR chats. Like there's this game that my friend has. Like basically, it's like actual like feels like a real weapon. Like you're basically you put a VR chat on, and the people look so well. You got a gun in your hand, just. Like it's like mad realistic. Like it feels like you're actually killing people. Like that's how bad it is. It's so realistic. So it's like then like kids are like using these, and then it's so realistic. You know, it's just they're always in this world. Like that world, like the metaverse would probably be pretty bad, to be honest. You won't want to go back to the regular world because that is the regular world, really.
Yeah, I mean, people can get addicted to it where that's all they want to do. They think that's the reality. I mean, they switch desensitized where that's where they think, and this is how the reality is for me.
That's true. I don't think it lacks its physical touch, but then you can do so much stuff in the metaverse and different things. So now your life is gonna be like trapped in that, and then when you get out of it, it's gonna be harder to communicate. I feel like so that's already how it is.
I think it's gonna be like. Have you heard of them maybe making like a neurochip?
Oh yeah,
it connects to your nervous system,
yeah.
And then that would break the physical touch barrier. And I feel like that would kind of almost be like being on another planet without actually being on another planet, because you'd basically be in a whole new world, and then you come back to this world. You can kind of go in between. Have y'all seen? I know you watch anime too. We all watch anime. That's another thing about Professor Goodwin. If you didn't know,
I love anime.
He has a second degree in anime. Have you guys seen Sword Art Online?
I've seen that. Yeah,
the original. I feel like it would be something like that. Is what I think.
Oh, you think so?
Not like that exact like.
Right. Oh wait. Oh, you're right though.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
That's crazy. And that like like in the show, obviously you guys know, but they probably don't know. Just in case, I'll explain. In the show Sword Art Online, if you die in a game, you die in real life. So it's like because the guy like tricked everyone and like trapped him in there, and it went to show you how real that world was. Because like the only thing stopping you from not being reality is if you die, you can reboot.
Right, facts.
So that was really interesting to see, and it's scary.
That's I feel like that's kind of how it is. Except you probably won't die, but everything else in that show, I feel like that's probably how it could be if you wanted it to. You could have your own character, go into worlds. You can even be in a fantasy world, fighting people. Meeting new friends. At the end of the day, you don't know how your friends look in real life or how they would act in real life. You're just there, in the game.
Those are your friends. That's how you socialize. I mean, that's it's kind of like the world that kind of we live in with kids today, where they have virtual reality friends. People that they're not really trying to meet new people. They're just trying to go online, and those are their friends. That's how they're socializing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kids that play Call of Duty. You ever play Call of Duty? You can get on there as a kid they call them squeakers.
Oh, I had to turn that. Yeah, because I can't. Call of Duty, I love the game, but I mean, people, these young, when you're going, this is the thing about these games. You have little kids in there that are talking the biggest smack in there. That's why you got to turn off your mic. You can't have your mic not on with the audio, because you're going to hear a squeaky voice and someone talking smack, killing you, talking smack, and then disrespecting you. Disrespecting you when they kill you. I'm like, yo, man, you don't have to teabag me. I get it. You got me. I get it. You don't have to do that, all that.
These little kids be bad disrespectful. I don't know how.
I think where is it?
I remember this one boy at the gym. He was pretty good at basketball, just this little kid. And then he was on the playing 5v5. For some reason, people let him get a shot on back up, let him shoot, because you don't want to smack a little kid. But then he just start cussing people. He start going hard, like, yeah. And then I was like, gross.
I think it's just kids. Maybe they know that. I don't know. Maybe they think it's all just fun. Like I feel like kids' ego isn't there yet, so they just think, like that stuff. They don't.
Right. They think really it's just fun to do
understand, that. Like, they just have a good time.
Sometimes they got ego too.
Yeah, dude. I saw like a kid in an Instagram video. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. So he made a jump shot and he started twerking on half court. And I sat there. I was like, did this little kid just shoot a jump shot and go into half court and start twerking like a halftime? And you know what was so everyone was like laughing. Was like, hey, funny. I mean, if I'm a coach and I saw a little kid twerking, he wasn't even. I mean, I was like, yo, that's too much, man.
That's too much.
It's internet now, right?
Yeah.
The metaverse, all that. They know.
Then you can't be egging little kids on like that either.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna be, doing like whatever they want in the future, just whatever they want to do,
That's
how it
true.
is. That's the crazy thing with the internet too now. It's like the kids know if I do this and someone records it, it can go viral. You know what I mean?
True.
I feel like going viral, like in the internet, like we talked about the metaverse and all these new outlets to socialize. If I do this crazy action, it may get attention.
It's way more likely to get attention.
Yeah, you're right.
In content where you sit down and like, you work on engineering or something like you're so productive. People are like, not as entertaining. But a kid's working at half court. People, for some reason, would rather see that.
Well, I saw it. I was like, okay, I got to replay this. Did he just twerk in half court instead of playing defense? You know what's so messed up about it? His whole team, after he made the shot, they went back to play defense. He stood there and started twerking on half court. I was like, are you kidding me? Your whole team is playing defense ready, and you're over here twerking and making a fool of yourself.
It's so bizarre that it's just like, I think they know that when they do it, like, it's such a bizarre thing. The kids, they give it so much attention.
Yeah.
And that's just like, people are just in awe when they see it, like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're that coach, you're like, okay, where's John? Oh, John, middle court. We told you in practice you can't do that.
Not again, John.
It was a one-time thing in practice, okay? Not again.
I remember this dude in my school got like in trouble for twerking like during a school assembly because he was a cheerleader.
Really?
And then, like, during the thing afterwards, though, he just started twerking in front of everybody. And then, he got called to the office, got in trouble and everything. So, I don't know. That's a debatable thing. I don't know. Are guys not allowed to twerk if girls? No, I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know.
So, we know you play basketball. I wanted to ask you, so what does that look like for you? How does your basketball life, how is your hooper
How's my
life?
Yeah, so I mean, I usually hoop about 4 or 5 times a day. I actually hoop this morning. Usually I hoop with a bunch of guys. Like we hoop at 6 a.m. in the morning, and usually after that I like to work out, get my workout in. And tonight actually I have a league game at 8. So.
Okay.
I mean, I want to be active. I mean, I think the worst thing is when you're not active, your body just gets complacent, and then it's harder to get back into it. Once you stop and put it down, it's really hard to come back and do it again.
That's so true.
I don't want to lose it. That's why I try to stay active. Even if I get busy, I want to be able to stay in the gym a little bit.
It's good to have a balance between even though you want to work hard, build knowledge and different things, and that takes you sometimes sitting down on your butt to do that. I feel like you got to find a way to stay active and get up and do exercise too.
Honestly, I feel like that's cool that you have a group of guys that are willing to get up at 6 a.m. and play basketball.
I was thinking they got to be OGs. They got to be OGs for that.
But see, you know what? I love that group because we have fellowship. But we also talk smack to each other.
It's competitive.
It's very competitive.
That's what makes it fun.
We all hate to lose. So I mean, we are competitive. Once the game starts, we pick our teams, and usually we have 12. So we have a sub.
Right.
So we have a sub that comes in and we rotate.
So y'all go hard, right?
Oh yeah, and then we're going to 40 1s and 2s. I mean, 4 court. I mean, we are going at each other.
40s, 1 and 2s. Dang.
Yeah, I mean we play 2 games, so I mean we are
that's conditioning right there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it's competitive. I mean we're talking smack to each other. We're competing. I mean we are
having a blast.
That's a good way to start your morning.
Yeah, because either way, even if we you lose every game, you're still getting cardio. You're still having fun with your friends. Yeah, and then we usually, sometimes when we have time, we go out for breakfast afterward. And I think that's good. And you compete with your friends, and then go out for breakfast, and then we all start our days. Yeah.
I feel like whenever I wake up in the morning and work out, my day, this could just be me, but my day goes way better than if I just wake up, and just walk, kind of stumble into whatever I'm doing. If you get up and you work out or you get some kind of exercise in, then you go to each day, you're all energized, you got, your blood's pumping, you just feel better, I feel like.
That's true.
When I wake up in the morning and do something like that. That's why I think playing basketball in the morning, that sounds fun. I'm surprised. I'm just surprised 12 guys are
Yeah, well, so you know what's even crazier? Sometimes we have a 20-piece where we have both courts because we play at the Santa Fe.
Oh, Santa Fe League? I used to play AAU there. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have both courts going, and we have a winner court and we have a loser court. So we are competing against each other. Who's going to be the king of the court? Who's going to win both games? And it's fun. When you get 20 guys waking up at 6 a.m. competing.
Yeah, 20.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
On a consistent basis?
Yeah, well, let's see. Well, that 20 piece doesn't happen like maybe once every couple weeks because it's hard because sometimes people are not going to wake up but for the most part, we're playing every single day at least 12. So, and it's fun. I mean, like when you have it, and what makes it fun is like we have a big list of people that's a guy monitors the email list, and you sign up for it before 9 o'clock. It's a cutoff. So like if you don't make the 9 o'clock cutoff, then you're not able to play the next day.
Oh, so every day you guys have like basically it kind of like rotates every day if you want to be there. So everyone kind of has a head count.
Yeah, so you have one guy which really is you have one guy that's monitoring like the list, saying, okay, as soon as you sign up, he like updates the list so you know where it's at. And if we need to get a certain amount, because if we don't get 12 guys, we will not play.
Right.
Because there's always, if you just have 10, there's always going to be some person that's going to drop out. So you got to have insurance. You got to have some people that.
So you can continue playing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's dope.
That's lit.
I might have to see what y'all
That's
hooping.
it.
Show up
I mean, hey, it's great. I mean, because when you have that, like we have a good system. I mean, because there's always going to be some guys that flake, but we have a big list. This list is probably like 70, 80 hoopers.
Dang.
Wow.
So like it just keeps on. We keep on adding people, and then every single day, like we want to. And hopefully, like for me, I love on Fridays when we have like. I try to encourage Fridays to be a 20-piece because it's the end of the week. We want to end on a good competitive note.
Right.
Have 20 or have like 4 different teams. We have captains, which we draft. Which you draft. That's another thing too. Picking the right people for your team. That's
Constructing.
Yeah. So because if you construct a bad team, you're probably going to lose both games.
Right.
So you got to like know people's strengths, and you got to draft, and then like we see who's going to get the winner court. Nobody wants to be demoted and play on the loser court.
So how do you get on the loser court? Do you like lose a game and then you go over there and two losers play or something like that?
Yeah. So like there's automatically like when you draw because we have like drawing straws to see who's going to go over there. So like ideally you want to get the winner court, but sometimes you start over the loser court, and if you lose that game, you stay over there. If you win that game, you move over to the winner court, and the loser that won or the loser that lost in the winner court gets demoted to the loser court.
This is awesome.
Yeah,
Let me hoop.
I've never seen nothing so coordinated like that.
Organized like this. Yeah, but these are like diehard hoopers that are like me. That's why like we want to make sure we have quality runs because we all got to go to work. We want to make sure that
you're having a good time.
Yeah.
Start your day off right.
Yeah.
That's solid. That's true. And that's good to have a system like that because you're so busy throughout the day. So you got a whole squad that got like kind of a system that y'all go to at a certain time.
Yeah.
Y'all can be consistent with everything. So I think that's pretty lit at the same time.
That's tough.
Yeah, I mean it definitely makes it, and what makes it even funner is just the different guys. Like we make it fun by in the emails we talk smack to each other saying we haven't seen you a month. Did you retire? You had a bad game. Are you sure you want to play the next day? You might want to take a rest and work on your game. I mean, so we like. I mean, it's like having throughout the day you have an email that's specifically for that. That guys are talking smack to each other, and it's fun, man. I'm not gonna lie.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds fun.
That sounds something I would love to do. Wake up.
That's a nice environment. That's a healthy environment right there, to be honest.
And you're starting your day off in a good way. Like you said, even if you lose, you just got a whole workout in.
Yeah.
So now, if you really didn't work out later in the day, you're staying in shape and you're doing it in a fun way. Versus like David Goggins.
Yeah. You
gotta get up at 3 a.m. Go 8 miles.
Yeah.
That's almost right. That's just as good. Almost. It's not good at 8 miles. It's just as good as a mile or two.
Well, you're running probably.
Yeah, you run it. I mean, because you're not. And sometimes you don't even have a sub. So it depends on like if we have like an odd number. Let's just say we have like 21. One team is not going to have a sub. So I mean, it's tough. But I think the sub makes it more dynamic because you have different game strategies. And like what I like to do is win or lose is just to hit the gym right afterward. I'm already tired mentally. I have to like change my gears and be like, okay, I'm tired, but now it's changed gears. Let's hit these weights.
Right. That's so hard. So I've noticed sometimes I'll just decide if I'm in the gym, like, okay, I got to pick one. So I usually just decide to lift because I know if I'm going to play basketball, I won't be going to lift because I'll be in there for a few hours grinding it out, and then I'm like,
you're tired. I know it's tough because I mean, when you're giving it all in basketball, I'm like fatigued. I'm ready to be done, but I keep on telling myself I want to work hard. Yeah. I don't want to like regret. I have time before work. I can go ahead and get this workout in and get it done.
Wow. So you get up at 6. What time do you go to bed every day?
Oh, it varies because grading. I can't tell you. It's all over the place.
It's all over the place.
Because sometimes it's like midnight. Sometimes it's
Later, early.
1 a.m. Because sometimes I'm known to I'll just stay up watching anime sometimes.
Good
Wait,
time.
1 a.m. and then I realize, oh shoot, well I got to
What
wake
am
up
I
at
doing?
4:30 a.m.
Right.
and then because I like to get to the gym early because we start at 6 a.m. So I like to get there at 5:30, stretch, do my
Man, sound
warm
like
up.
Kobe over here.
Yeah, I like to stretch, put up my shots. Because I take it serious. I want to people know when I'm coming to the gym, I'm getting my body ready. I'm trying to get buckets.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
That's true.
That is some Kobe Bryant stuff. You walk in the gym, it's like, well, how long you been here for? Oh, just a little bit. You go back in the locker room, come back out, we still shooting. It's like, man, we're about to play. It's been an hour. He's like, oh, I know. Drops 30.
Yeah, it's fun though because I think it's plus I don't want to be the person that shows up right at 6 a.m. Then we have to wait for the stretching and it messes up the run for all the people that got there early. I never want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that if we need to stay at 6 o'clock, let's start at 6. I'm there early.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Discipline, right?
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Jeez, we can all learn.
Discipline,
we need
yeah.
to-
I can learn some of this discipline, yeah.
That's awesome.
Especially sports-wise.
Just the discipline it takes and the consistency of waking up at 4:30. You got papers at 12. You don't go to bed till 1, but you still get up, get ready, hit the gym, get to class. That's just
Yeah,
gonna say it every day.
you be everywhere, bro. I respect that. You be in it. You playing basketball and then you go to business, do your business stuff. It's like, how do you juggle all that stuff
Well,
in your mind?
I just prioritize. I think it's time management. I know things that I want to do. For one thing, especially with being a teacher or professor, whenever I step into a classroom, I always think it's showtime, which means I want to give students everything I got.
Right.
I think the worst thing I can do is just not care about being a professor and teaching and just go through the motions. Because if I start going through the motions, I feel like I'm cheating the students that are in the class. I want to give them my all and make sure that they have a good time and they learn something from my class.
Yeah.
So I want it to be fun, ideally. And in order for it to be fun, I got to care and be passionate about what I'm doing and have good daily habits. Because that's what it really is daily habits. A person that's not motivated is not going to have good daily habits. But someone that's motivated, there's always going to be something that you can do to get better. And I always like to challenge myself mentally to do that.
That reminds me of my one of my mentors, Mr. Davis or whatever, because I had a mentor class with him basically where he speaks motivational stuff, but in his class, he's always sweating. So let's just say he goes in there and gives 100%. He goes in there, talks, he talks motivation, basically like communication skills, connection, getting good habits, self-awareness, different stuff. So he's in there, just going hard, just sweating out, just telling us everything you need to do, asking us questions, going off, teaching you. He's like, get up, say a poem or whatever. He makes people say poems, so he gives 100%. Then he speaks. He's a public speaker. He goes on stage. He speaks out 100%, and then he talks about how he wants to be drained mentally, so hard that he just falls asleep in the bed, just falls on the bed like that. So it's a type of mentality that if you want to help people, sometimes every time you get out there to speak to people, you got to actually think a little harder. Some people who just chillax and just have rehearsed, repeatedly rehearsed the same stuff, that they've been doing for years. Instead of somebody who's actually okay, I think I learned something new the other day, so I'm gonna try to teach these people to the best of my ability, So, and I noticed you do that in class, so that's what I respect about it. Yeah.
No, it's like you said, you talk about the Mamba mentality. You should have the Mamba mentality in everything that you do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's dope.
Yeah.
I think it's the best way. I think a lot of people too don't have something to invest in. And it's not even a job or a career. It's just like you said, getting up at 6 a.m. That's something you can think, I can win the day. If I get up at 6, go hoop, I win the day. And if I get a win, I'm just a king of the day. So it's those little goals and challenges you set for yourself. It makes you, I would say, brings joy or fulfillment or just some kind of purpose in your day. And I think if you're just chilling, you're not really doing anything, that's when depression creeps in or sadness, because you're what am I doing? I'm just eating Cheetos, chilling at home, not working on this, not doing that. And it kind of eats away at you, I feel like. But if you're I got this, and this, you're not even going to think about those things. And maybe, it's life, everyone gets sad, but
I noticed that during spring break, I chilled in my bed for 2 days straight. I haven't done that in months, even maybe almost a year or something like that. And it was just different, I was feeling sick kind of, basically.
It eats away at you.
Yeah, it
feel
eats
happy.
away, dude,
Right.
yeah.
I didn't feel happy. Like I wanted to chill in my bed, try to watch anime. It just wasn't the same. I just like after I got through a few shows, I was like, I just don't feel good. What am I doing? I was like, I need to do for something. I was looking for fulfillment. You feel me? And then I realized, dummy, bro, you're not out here doing what you need to do. Focus on values, passion, or anything. You're not focused on what you're doing. That's why you're not feeling good right now.
Bro, anime hits different whenever you had a long day or something and you go watch that nice episode you
right,
to watch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you're waiting for it. You're like, you know what? I can't wait to see.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, I'm not even gonna lie, like I have to like put limits on my anime watching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I get home, that's why I could stay up late. Because I'm like, oh no, I can't stay up. I'm already. Oh, it's already one. Oh, stop it, Nate. We got basketball in the morning. We got to do this. It's like, all right, I'm only gonna watch one episode, and that's gonna be it. I'm gonna just cut it off and say that's it. And I'm gonna be dedicated, and then finish the next episode the next day. Because sometimes, like, I even like have to like say no anime throughout the week.
Yeah,
because like especially if it's grading key points, then I'm just gonna lose focus.
Mm-hmm.
So like I try to reward myself on the weekend by watching anime when I get into like key points where like grades are due, or just academic advising, other stuff that needs to be prioritized. Just because I know myself, because it's easy to get lost in anime. I feel like there's so many different categories of anime, and especially if you find a series that you like,
you're just
Right,
is a real thing.
That's
you're just gonna especially with Netflix and all these other platforms that you can see. I mean, you're just gonna just keep watching, and then what makes it even worse is that they have similar animes that are similar to what you liked. So once that's what drives me crazy. It's like, so I already got done with one, but wait a minute, when we pop down at the bottom,
almost exactly
they're
the
the same, man. So now I got a new anime to watch. So now more time's going to be invested into it.
That really is how it is. I remember I used to watch, like we talked about 12 episode animes.
Yeah.
Right.
And, dude, like you think about it, each episode is like 18, 20 minutes.
That's true.
I mean, and then you watch 6 of them. That's like a few hours, but like it doesn't feel you're just like, we're halfway through the series, man. Okay, we're about to figure out what happens. Click. Next episode.
Dude, those are lit, bro. For some reason, the 12 ones just hit different.
No filler. It's
no filler. All the content.
Plot.
Yeah.
And it's basically like a movie, I guess, but you're watching episode by episode. Like, for example, the slime and then the spider one, whatever, and then I guess reincarnation of the slime, reincarnation of the spider. Those are the same thing. Just different.
Different. Yeah.
Like you had the slime one, then you was like, oh, there's a spider one. Then you watched it, and it's exactly how you expected it. You feel me? Because it was just good or whatever. And they got a bunch of shows like that left and right. But yeah.
Yeah, man, anime. I remember I watched my first anime, or I found anime. I want to say, I guess technically Avatar. Are we count Avatar as anime?
Yeah, I'm good.
I don't know.
I mean,
I won't get into it.
Yeah, that's tough. But I'm gonna say, we'll count it because you're saying you digged it. So yeah, that's anime. Yeah.
Okay. So that was my first, I guess, technical anime, some controversy, and then I got into what I get into after that. I used to watch some some random weird anime shows when I was a kid, just like more like you could tell they're made for like the younger audiences. Not plot heavy, just kind of like I don't know, different. And then I got Kenichi. That's when I was hooked. When I got Kenichi, I was like, oh, this stuff is dope. And I was just. From there, I just always
I only watched Kenichi like a few years ago. I'm a recent Kenichi guy.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, bro. But that was different, bro. I was binging that one a lot.
I binged that one too. I was so sad whenever I got to the last episode. It was so good, just the finish, the leading up to it, just the battle, the like symbolism it had. It was all just. That one is underrated. If you guys want to watch the anime, Kenichi, and just broke the fourth wall. That's what you guys need to see.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
If you
want to improve in life, you go watch that one.
Learn a couple moves.
Learn those. Yeah.
Maybe, and like I think that's another thing too. Nostalgia always makes things seem better than what because I've watched some animes. In my mind, I'm like, that's a great anime, top 10. Go back and watch it. I'm like, it's good, but. Maybe I just have that nostalgia kicking in where I'm like, it could have been better here or there, but like still like it just because it's something that I watch. But Kenichi, I could go back and watch that to this day and still think it's.
That's true. Yeah, some are. Well, like the long ones, it's harder to rewatch, but the 12 ones, I've rewatched repeatedly sometimes. But the longer ones, they're just like really good. Like Dragon Ball Z, I can rewatch that one anytime. Especially DBZ series.
I think it's hard, especially like you talked about top 10 anime. I think because just watching so many anime, my list keeps on changing.
Facts.
It's so tough. Like the first anime that got me really into it was an anime called Slam Dunk.
The basketball? I've seen that.
Okay.
Yeah. So at first I was like, okay, slam dunk, let me check this one out. But that one hit
seems
hard
like it
because,
fits you.
I love basketball,
Yeah.
and the character was just so funny. I mean, if you guys want a good sports anime, check out Slam Dunk.
I've heard isn't that a pretty like OG?
Right.
basketball
Yeah,
show?
dude.
Yeah.
Because it actually teaches you basketball. Like, if you don't know anything about basketball, it's going to
Right.
teach you
Yeah.
how to play, what different coaching strategies, and just each of the players represent modern day NBA players.
Oh,
Right,
that's
yeah,
dope.
that's
So
awesome.
it was well done.
You're
Like,
selling this to me right now.
Yeah, I mean, I
He
enjoyed
sold
it,
to
and
me.
it's
I've been
comedic.
holding that one off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like comedy. I love the main character. He's just a person that's never played basketball, and he gets introduced to high school basketball, and he was a delinquent, and now he used basketball as an outlet to become a better person in general.
Right.
So it's kind of like it reminds me of coming of age stories. Is that kind
Yeah.
of what it is?
Yeah.
Those are the best shows.
Yeah. So it's a
think-
while you see him getting better. At first he was terrible, people making, but he always had confidence. That's one thing I like about the guy. He was
Right.
terrible, but he was still talking smack, saying that he was good.
He's like the
But
best.
then, toward the end, you see him progressing so fast, and then toward the end, he just turns a completely different player. And now, the team, they go to national. I mean, it's amazing just how the story of each of the characters, how they bring them in,
Right.
and how they're competing, and just the side stories, and it's well done.
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
I watched a soccer show that was kind of like that. I forgot what it was called, but
Yeah, I watched
Sports shows be
I watched the
hitting different.
volleyball one. Yeah.
Oh, Haiku or something? Haiku,
something
yeah.
Is that
like
solid?
that.
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
solid,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard people really like that
Yeah.
show.
I think
Yeah.
my favorite sports one is Run with the Wind, just because I'm a track runner. So it's it's
for
basically
real?
kind of distance runners, and it's a more emotional one type thing,
Mm-hmm.
where everybody's working together with a team, and then they're all trying to improve on distance. And then y'all got to improve the whole team, but y'all want to make it further. So it was a really good show. Kind of sad too.
Yeah. Dude, those shows always hit different, especially because you can relate to them.
Yeah.
If you're an athlete, you're like, man, I remember what it's like being out there. Because we all started somewhere. We were all trash at some point or something. So then just learning and seeing that.
Yeah.
I feel like shows you can resonate with always. It start the binging. So I just started clicking.
Like
Click,
Black
click,
Clover.
click, Black
Oh,
Oh, I
Clover.
love Black Clover, man.
I just
At first I wrote that off, but I was like, I don't know about the plot, but once I actually started watching it, where I'm
Yeah.
I believe, with Asta, I mean, getting strong, I mean, just not
Yeah.
having no magic, 'cause everyone likes the underdog.
Yeah,
Everyone likes the
fact.
underdog.
Everyone likes the
And he was
underdog.
the underdog of the underdog.
Yeah.
I think everyone likes a character who's either starts in a bad place or messes everything up, and you gradually see them
You're right.
work to fix what they messed up or what they didn't have. And that's for some reason, like you said, everyone likes the underdog. That's
Facts,
crazy.
though.
It shows a little bit about people in general, right?
yeah.
Everybody wants to be the underdog nowadays. You know what I mean? Which is they want to have the underdog look without even being the underdog, because it just feels cooler.
The Baker Mayfields.
Right. It just feels cooler being the underdog. If you're successful, if you start off in in a successful position, then you get even more successful. People don't respect that as much, just because they value the underdog nowadays more than they value success.
That's true.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a bad thing. Sometimes it's a good thing when you think of it as in, I'm happy for the journey over, then I'm happy to do the journey, not the goal. But I feel like if you're just valuing and you're actually lowering yourself, you feel me? It'll stop you from growing. You feel me? If you try to lower yourself and be like, oh, I started from the bottom or something, when you have it, or you be like, I'm a minority, or you just come up with different things just to put yourself down. That's just putting yourself down.
That's true.
So,
It's always important to be able to grow.
Yeah.
And I just think that with sometimes anime, there's so many different categories that you can relate to the characters that you're watching. Like one anime that got me interested into samurais was an old anime called Sura no Taki.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, so basically it's about this person that's in the Edo period, that he basically does not use any types of weapons, and he's beating samurais or people that have swords.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I love the reference where basically he has the battles where everyone's having swords, but he has a specific clan that has a style that's so unique, but it's undefeatable because
Right.
it's so unique. No one knows how to go against it because it's only reserved just for one clan. And they just keep on having people that have that style. And I just like the artwork and just how, my favorite reference is they talk about Musashi. Miyamoto, which if you aren't familiar with Masashi Miyamoto, he is like a samurai that won 60 duels undefeated back in that time period, 2 sword styles, which I love that. Most people just are good with one sword, but he had 2 swords and was dominant, and he just had psychological mental powers, and just he was just very good. He trained yearly. Yeah.
What was the show called?
Shaki no Taki.
Saki no Taki.
Yeah, I do like the shows that have the like clans, and the clans will have their own like style, or like if you're talking about more of like a supernatural, their own like nature or something.
Right.
Have you guys seen
That's lit.
What's the show? Born into the No, it's like a guy who was like a wind user.
Yeah,
he come from a family, and he had like they were fire users or something.
Right, something like that. I know what you're talking about.
I can't think of it right now.
That one was alright. Yeah, that one was alright. I liked it.
I like that show. That was pretty dope. I like shows kind of like that. Where like samurai shows or just like shonen, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, shonen. Yeah, I'm all about shonen. Man.
I used to read a bunch of shonen books back in the day. I'm glad I stopped because I was getting too far deep into those. Those are good, like light novels and different things. I was going hard into those.
Did y'all watch what was it called? Death Note.
Oh yes,
Death Note.
Death Note. I mean, this is why I'm talking about the different animes you can connect. That one was like. I enjoyed the crime, the investigation, like this. It made you think, is this really happening? Is this guy able to do this? Is he ever going to get caught?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is incredible. I mean, when he met his match, I mean, I was like, yo, this is nice, man. I mean.
That's it. I don't relate. I don't know, man. I don't relate to the crime or nothing. No, man. Anyway.
The psychological
thing. I mean, because that's a lot of. That's what makes anime interesting. Like when you could think about.
It was really interesting. Too, yeah. Like, it was like people think this way. It was showing what actually goes on in people's minds, low-key, when they're like, okay, like this, and then they're like thinking bad thoughts, and then he's like, okay, I can get away with anything. Then he goes, it's free for all. You feel me?
Most of the show is internal dialogue, I feel like.
Yeah, he's having conversation. Really that's what. Yeah, it's like you're thinking this, but now it's like able so everyone can see it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then just the way he puts things together, like, oh, I remember he was about to get caught, and he had to like hide the death note in a way that they couldn't find because like it was really on him about trying to crack down on. Whatever he was doing, he contracted a plan to like, oh, if they open this, it'll burn the book or something. You remember that episode?
Yeah, I remember. I mean, that was like it's because I mean that's why I really like the military ones as well. The strategies because I love like having like with battle scenes when they have two people or let's just say armies that are competing against each other and they have to use strategy to win. I mean, that always is like entertaining to me because one wrong move and
everything.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of what we talked about today, and this is going to be going to connect to things that are kind of stretchy, but I'm taking Modern World and we talked about World War I. In Germany, they had a strategy. To short it up, they had a strategy, and the strategy, if they would have followed it, they would have probably won World War I. But she believes they made one wrong move, like you said, that threw everything off. If they would have just followed the battle plan and been disciplined, things could look completely different right now. But like the animes, the military animes do a really good example of like showing that in a consumable way. And it really is like that. Like that's what makes it so interesting. It's because it's suspense. You never know what's going to happen. And I would want to be a part of that, but watching it is fun.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. I mean being a general and having so many lives that you're in charge of, and I mean because you have to basically are a person that you have to be a leader and people have to respect you and trust you that you have good decision making. If you're not, then basically your whole army is going to be beat. And then you're probably going to be, there's other things that are worse consequences and it's over. I mean, it's not like you can do a redo. I mean, once you are at it, I mean, once you get to that point of you have passed that threshold, then it's one and done. It's almost like March Madness.
Yeah.
I mean, one and done. You have one chance. You can't get no redo and say, hey, disqualification, let's do that game again. If you don't show up that day, you're not going to be able to deliver.
And that's the thing about the war, just military and war in general. Like, that's why they hold such a high standard. I think people don't really realize that, like, we're training you like this to do these things because when it comes down to it, you need to be able to do it like it's the back of your hand. You need to be able to follow command, follow a strategy with, like, no... Communication needs to be on point, and I think that's another reason why they're so direct in the military. Like, there's no room for error in communication. It's like this means this. There's no if, ands, or buts. I think that's really smart because, like you said, if one small move, one wrong person would be out of place, and thousands of people could die because of that. It's just really stressful. Imagine a general sleeping. I bet generals don't get sleep anymore at night.
Oh no. I mean,
They
you
don't
have so
sleep.
much stress. I mean, because everything that happens, it could go wrong. You have to be ready for it.
Right.
High stress.
Especially generals, they got an image to uphold. Like, they can't even slack off in the bed because they
People-
get on anybody under them for
Yeah,
slacking
yeah.
off, you know.
That's the thing. It's like great leaders. I saw something. There's a chemical in the brain that handles stress. Like if you have more of this certain chemical, forgot the word, then you're going to be able to handle stress better, which is a good indicator if you're going to be a good leader or not. Not so much who's like the bronziest, buffest, most athletic, or like even really the smartest. There's a chemical, I forgot what the name was, but that's like a good indicator if you're going to be able to be a leader, because leaders have to be able to take
Right.
tremendous amounts of stress. I mean, like most people would crack down in some of these positions, like a president. I mean, that's crazy just to think. It gives me goosebumps thinking about how much they deal with on a day-to-day basis, and they can just walk out there on the podium. Oh, hey guys, like all good and dandy, like
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
that is.
I forgot the name of the chemical. It was I saw it on I forgot what podcast. I think it was Joe Rogan's podcast or something.
It's not
I think
endorphin,
so.
is it?
Yeah.
Endorphin?
Endorphin?
I forgot. I think it's something with the fiend at the end. I wish I knew. I probably should. Now people are gonna be researching it, but like, don't quote me too much. But I know there was a chemical, and it was like someone was breaking down a study, and they're just talking about like these are indicators of a good leader, and like testosterone is one of them, because obviously that's like the confidence, like go out and do it, but you got to be able to handle the amount of stress that you're taking on, and being able to still think clearly and not like be irrational. There's a lot that goes into it, and that's why great leaders are like respected, because they're like, man, I can't.
Right.
I don't know how you're able to do that, but since you can do that, generals and stuff get to those positions. Which, and honestly, I feel like if we're going back to history, some of these generals, I don't know, because
They weren't the best leaders.
like World War I, World War II. I mean, not even just that. It's like the guys that were out there actually dying weren't the generals, and the generals weren't constructing these amazing strategies like trench warfare.
Yeah, I mean, I think that. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that whole strategy of let's just stand up in a line,
Yeah.
and which is, I would never be the flag dude. How are you going to be the flag dude and have no type of ammunition, anything? You hold the flag, and you have pride, but you're going to be the first one shot. I mean, you're going to be the first one that's going to be killed.
Right, because they want to get you.
I mean, yeah, that's the first person I'm shooting. It's like, hey, that's an open target.
Right.
But yeah, just standing up in a line and let's just go ahead and shoot each other and then reload. I mean, that's probably, I can't just imagine having that type of system
Warfare.
of war.
Yeah, that's
Because the honor, right? They had like codes of honor back then. It's like
some,
it was
some dumb
honorable.
stuff. Right?
Yeah.
It
I
was-
don't want to call it dumb, but some weird stuff.
It was just
Yeah.
like at that time they had codes to war, and like how we have like social
Codes.
like unspoken rules. It's kind of like had that in
Right.
armies. It's like, okay, we're gonna line up and shoot each other. We're gonna be gentlemen about this, and like I get generals kind of decided how they outflanked, but I mean for the most part,
yeah.
it really wasn't too much. I would say strategy. I feel like it was strategy, but there's way more efficient ways to go about taking care of somebody else. But that's just how it was in Europe at the time.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
had so many different rules of war. And
So, what
They
do you
didn't-
think makes a good leader?
a good leader.
Yeah. Because you're talking about like natural, like people naturally being leaders, but I feel like there's a lot of ways that people can like grow being a leader. You know what I mean? As in being a general, because people are naturally generals and stuff like that. They gotta, either train or they're seen in, or they're put in a position. Then they learn how to become a leader. So I think it's like a lot of things you can work on to become a leader.
Yeah, I think. Well, there's a difference between a leader and a boss.
Yeah.
I think a boss is someone who just tells someone what to do because they want it done or needs to get done. A leader is someone who can genuinely. I feel like a leader and a boss, you view them differently. A leader is someone you genuinely want to be in that position, and I feel like they bring people together. They have hold the utmost responsible. They have the utmost responsibilities, right? But they handle them right. They're disciplined.
Yeah.
They're intelligent. They have very good. What is the word when you're giving speeches? They have good
Confidence,
diction, or what they say you believe in.
Okay.
Charismatic?
They're charismatic. Like
Yeah,
all
that's
these
true.
traits is just
I
like
think it's like charismatic people that's true too.
yeah, they just have these qualities that you look at them like okay, that guy is solid,
Yeah.
and you don't get like envious or hate him, right? You know what I'm talking about? That's what I think a
Yeah.
leader looks like. In my
That's true.
opinion.
Yeah. A dude that even if he's on a high position, he's still a cool dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, doesn't abuse power, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's hard to see those type of people, but they're there. And I feel like if you're a leader, people don't even really talk about it too much. It's just kind of natural.
Right.
They just kind of naturally are drawn to that. And I think that's like a good leader. A boss is someone everyone knows they have to listen to, but
Right.
they just don't really. Like deep down inside, they don't respect him. They respect him because they have to. A leader, you respect
Yeah.
him because you want to. That's
I think you talked about you're teaching a class pretty soon about like diversity in the workplace. I'm pretty sure that's what you said. So I think like in that standpoint, I feel like being a leader, and also being smart and having diversity. Like if we're talking in a workplace or a business environment, then having diversity is like very important. Also, just as important as having a leader. You know what I mean? Because a leader can only lead, but I feel like with diversity, it helps you grow and have success. So I just wanted to turn to that direction. If you have any thoughts on that or anything, I don't know.
No, I agree. I think when we talk about like you're saying leader and a boss, a leader is someone that's people aspire to be like.
Right.
And I think there's different types of leader based off your personality. Some people are going to be soft-spoken, but whenever they choose their words wisely, then people understand that it's great. It reflects what the organization and how it's going to go. And there's other people that are going to be more relational, or they have good relationships with people. They're able to connect people together, and that's some of their strengths. That's part of their leadership. And there's some people that are just really good at making good, effective, quick decisions that a lot of people think, how did you come up with that? They're creative decisions, but they're decisions that make a leader stand for what they are. So, I mean, I can't, like, when I think of leadership, I don't really think of, like, one different way of being a leader. I think of kind of a leader that has a personality and has something that they can bring that's unique. And it's something that can develop over time. I mean, you could develop your leadership skill just by being in leadership positions or being around people or even being mentored. I think that's huge about being able to mentor someone in the community and to give them knowledge. So whenever they want to become a leader, you've helped them out, and then they do the same thing. Imagine if, like, all three of us, we were mentoring people that are aspiring to be leaders, and then they decide to impact the community and apply for leadership positions. That's three new people that are going to impact the community that could be connected together just because we mentored them together. And now if they do the same, it's like a domino effect. Now we're going to have more leaders in the community.
Right.
See, that was like an amazing answer.
Well, that was my professor answer right there. That was my professor.
I'm like, yeah, leader, this is that. He's over here like, this is what, he breaks it down. I'm like, yeah, listen to that. Listen to that. That was amazing.
Right, so, yeah.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think that is good to have different, like you said, different kinds of leadership. I didn't really think about that too much just now, but that does exist.
Yeah.
And I think if you can bring a lot of leaders together that kind of have they bring different things to the table, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's great.
Sure.
What kind of leader would you say you are? If you had to think, like, what way would you go about leading if you had to choose?
I like to consider myself a transformational leader. I don't like to, I'm one of those people that like to think and challenge and make things better. For me, an ideal situation is looking at something that's a problem and then being able to solve and fix it and then continually make it better. So I like to put myself in difficult situations just because that's how I'm going to grow. And also, I believe in making things better for other people.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Into that clip.
You got to get all this wisdom, huh?
Soaking it in.
Soaking it in.
Yeah, I've always thought leadership is one of those things that, like you said, I think I can agree with that. There's not one way of doing it, not one way that it looks like. And I think growing up, playing sports is one thing. You can kind of always, that's like one thing where those leaders naturally, I've noticed, like there's a difference between natural leaders, I feel like, and like you said, you can always be taught how to be a leader. That's also true. I think seeing in sports, you kind of see a little bit of that. Like you played at a high level, so you've seen different guys come in that are all from like, the guy at their school, and you can see what that looks like. And I've also seen guys that think they were leaders, and then they weren't leaders. Like
they're just bosses probably, or like not good bosses.
Just the rah. Football. There's always those rah guys that are like, yeah, let's do this. Y'all need to do this, but like, no one really looks at them and thinks, okay, you're gonna ride a team together. Talking about just the rah guy, which they're good too. Yeah. You need rah guys, but you need more than that if you want to be considered a leader.
Right.
You can
a respected leader. Yeah.
So I played with some guys that were kind of like the rah guys, but they were never really like, when we weren't on the field taking care of business as much and being that consistent, disciplined person. But when we get on the field, they're all about it, which is great. But, there definitely is a lot of aspects, I think, that go into being a leader versus just having the spirit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I mean, especially with football, I mean, there's so many different things that you can look at. Like being a leader could be doing well in your classes to be eligible. I mean, if you're doing well on the football field, but you're not doing well in your classes and you're not eligible, then what are you doing? I mean, that's not being a leader. You can't play.
Yeah.
So I mean, and just holding everyone accountable, not missing your workouts. I mean, that's a big thing too. Like, everyone has a part. I mean, that's why having a good teams that are able to do very well, everyone's held accountable.
For sure.
So people are missing workouts, not paying attention, not eating right, going out partying and not taking the game seriously, not getting into their playbook. These are all things that,
Playbook.
if you don't know the playbook and you can't understand what's happening, how are you going to get on the field and play?
Oh, yeah. That's why a lot of good teams lose, too.
I think something we talked about earlier before we hopped on was, like, people want the position, but they don't want to, like, put in the work or do anything they need to do to have the position. Like, they want all the good things that come with being a leader, but at the same time, they don't want to, put in the skills or, like, try to understand people or grow themselves. And that's just like any position, Like we said they want to be the entrepreneur, they want to be the public figure, the different people, they want to post all that stuff, but they only they do maybe one thing or something. They sell some t-shirts online or something every now and then. Now they're like, okay, I'm an entrepreneur, Like, there's the type of people that they just don't put in the work, but at the same time they do a little bit, then they throw the title at themselves just to, get the call for it. So people want titles, but they don't want, to do the work to be a leader. As in, if you tell somebody to do something, then you probably do it yourself, You put in the work to get that position.
I do have a question for you that he says that. Do you think, if you look at hard work, you look at people putting time into things, do you think as a society people put enough time into things they're actually passionate or care about? Like, for example, everyone says work hard, do this and that. Do you think people would work harder or do more if they actually had something that they wanted to do, in terms of a job or a career, if they chase their passion? Or do you think people are just getting lazier? Like, what do you think it more is? Laziness, or do you think just lack of meaning and purpose?
I think it's lack of meaning and purpose. Just because I say this, just because I think a lot of people, let's just say young people, they choose careers just solely based off of salary instead of this is something that I really want to do. Until they actually start doing it, they realize I'm miserable doing this. Maybe I should have tried and thought about something that would make me happy. And that could be just your parents saying this will be a good major, you should focus on that.
Right.
Which you look up to your parents. So if your parents say this is a good major, you might want to consider it. Then you're like, okay, that sounds good. I think I'll consider that because my parents said that. Instead of being able to, let's see what I really want to do in college, which I encourage everyone in college, pick a major that you're going to be passionate about doing every single day and not feel like you have to do it just to make money.
Right.
Wow.
So true.
I think a lot of society puts pressure on young people, especially to make money and to be this image, to have this image, and I think people fall into the trap of actually need to find as much money as possible or find ways to have money, and they're chasing other people's approval more so than chasing their own self-approval when they look in the mirror. You know what I mean? Because
that's true.
People say, I don't want to be a doctor, I'm going to be this, and I always sit back and I don't judge people by any means, but you have to ask yourself, are people doing this because they genuinely want to or think that it's good for them, or do you think they're doing it because, like you said, people at home, pressures from others telling them this is what they should do?
That's true. But what if you think about the reverse too? Like, what if you were to ask somebody who has a job and like, okay, are you happy with this job? They'd be like, yeah, it's my dream job. But then you'd be like, if somebody offers you, to be in a record label, different things, and they offer you this stuff, would you take that and quit your job? And then you'd be like, yeah, I'll take it and quit my job. So what do you think about that way? What do you think about that?
Like giving up your job for your dream?
Like, no, but you say the job that you have is your dream, but you're really lying to yourself in that way, from how I see it, because you would give that up if you got a better position somewhere else that would be way cooler. You know what I mean?
Do you think you could have more than one dream, or
I think people like to.
Can you do both?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, are you limited? Because I feel like when you ask that,
people think they're limited though.
Because I think you should put self limits. Okay. Like, I mean, if in that situation, why not work full time, do my job, and then have the record deal that I'm doing on the side because it's something that I love doing, so I'm have the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
for sure. That's another thing, like you said. The book we read, Chase the Lion? I really enjoyed that book. We had to do a little reflections.
Yeah.
I think that was a good example. Like, people should set a goal, and if you get it or you don't get it, at least I say I'd rather die without accomplishing something with no regrets than to die with accomplishing something with a million regrets.
Right.
Because as long as you left everything you had on the table, and like you said, maybe you were a doctor but you tried that rap career, maybe you were a accountant but you tried something in the creative world. As long as you did what you can, I feel like that gives you happiness and fulfillment, and chasing it will make you happier.
Yeah.
And you're chasing your lion basically. Versus, telling yourself, I'm a doctor, I'm accomplished, let me just sit back, I can't do it, or like you said, limiting yourself.
That's true.
And I feel like though that may leave people with tons of regrets when they're all said and done with things. And even short-term regret, right? Like if you do something and you regret, like, I shouldn't have done that. That feels super bad. So imagine lifelong, the feeling of lifelong regret.
I'm not doing something that you thought you should have did.
No, there's people that happens just a lot. Like they go through 25 years of doing the same job that they're miserable, but they're afraid to take a job that they wanted to be doing, which is like maybe opening their own business. They've had plenty of ideals where they wanted to open up their own business, but they're afraid to take that leap because they don't know what's going to happen. They don't have a predicted outcome. They don't have a source of income, so they rather play it safe and have a steady source of income instead of taking a risk and seeing what could happen. Because believe it or not, a lot of people fear success because they fear success just for the fact of the matter is that they don't know what success is defined as, because success is subjective and it's different for each individual person. There is no set trajectory of what steps I need to take to be successful. And I always think there's interesting people that read these books about what you need to be successful. Just because you read those books doesn't mean you can follow that exact same path and be just like that person and get their exact same success. But yet these books, there's a lot of books for dummies. You see them that are selling. But people I want an easy, get rich quick scheme that I could read this book for dummies and it's going to help me be successful, and I'm going to be the next successful entrepreneur because I read a book that tells me how I need to think, how I need to react, it's not you, it's someone else, but you're buying it because you feel like it's going to be the best thing for you.
I think I think there's a certain type of books or content in the books that you gotta look for. You can't look for actions like, I did this to I started stocks to be successful or something. But I feel like you can't look at I imply waking up early, or I decided to read books or start my day productive, or I made sure I had certain values in my life to where I build connections with people or something like that, or certain characteristics. But you can't be like, I did this to do this. You know what I mean? Because even if you did that for another person, that might not work because there's too many factors of where they're at, in life, what skills they're good at, different things. So you can't just follow what somebody did to a T. You can snatch from somebody and learn from their mistakes, but don't don't try to mimic people or something.
How much of it do you think people not taking a risk has to do with responsibilities that they've acquired? For example, if you have a mom who's elderly and you need to pay for her insurance, but you want to go do this thing, say you want to go start your own business or start your own label company or whatever, but if I take that risk, I may not be able to pay this, or if you have a mortgage on a house. I think, and I've heard a lot of people, wise people, I would say, these aren't my words, I ain't gonna take credit for it, but they'll say, you'll have people start taking less risk when the responsibilities stack up. So the time to take the most risk is whenever you don't have that much responsibility. Because then, it's harder to do it. Because say you have a mortgage, or say you have a family, 8 kids, or some people have a lot of kids, or 4, even 2 kids. Really, these responsibilities stack up on you, and it makes it. I feel like it makes people feel restricted to where they can't, or they can. They just think they can't go take those risks, and maybe they don't have the right circle around them. To where I feel like if you have the right circle, when you go say, hey, look, I want to take this risk, I have to do this, or I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. I feel like if you have a good circle around you, they'll be like, okay, we'll see what we can do. Right. But I don't think everyone has that. So maybe they'll tell those people, hey, look, I want to take this risk, and they don't give them their approval. So another quote I heard from a guy, this is Joe Rogan's quote, a lot of men live lives of quiet desperation. That's what he says, which is you want to do so much, you want to just run away and escape, but you can't because you have this burden you're carrying, and it's restrictive on what you actually want to do. And when I heard that quote, I was like, I do have a insurance bill I pay. That's about it. But I thought about it. I was like, imagine if I had 5 different bills like the insurance bill. Then that would change exactly how I,
how you spend your money, what you
spend my money and construct my day.
Right.
So then I start thinking, imagine being someone who has a house, bills, say kids to feed, and it's like I couldn't even imagine what they feel like when it comes about their dreams. Or maybe they want to start a podcast, but to them that seems so unachievable because everything they do every day, that I don't really blame them too much. Yeah. So, but if you want to do it, you got to do it. You know what I'm saying? You got to find a way.
You do got to think about your family and everybody while you do it. So it takes time. Like there's always certain things that's holding you back, and you probably won't be able to achieve your goals, but you can at least try. And as in, take some small steps, look outside the box, and then try to reach them in an unorthodox way, some way that's not like, oh, by the book. Since you got kids and stuff, you can still, start off small and do the steps you think you can do. You know what I mean? While also taking care of your family and paying the bills. But don't ever say I can't. Or don't ever not try. But do what you can. You feel me? If you want to go back to school, be like, okay, I can spend like maybe a couple hours. Take a couple courses. Like you don't have to go all the way in. You know what I mean? Yeah. For kids, or you can like maybe during summers or certain times, you can go take night shifts or something, or just different things. But
I think what you're talking about. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
Right? No, go ahead. I'm done.
Well, I was going to say, sacrifice. How much is your chase the lines? How much is your dream worth to you? If you really want something, you're gonna even if it takes you years to actually get your chance to get your opportunity, you're going to be waiting for that, and you're going to set yourself up to be ready for that opportunity.
Jump at it.
So raising a family, I think a lot of people like to make excuses, and those excuses stop them from being great because they rely on their excuses to take the easy way out, saying, you know what, I do have bills, I have a family, this is too much, I'm overwhelmed, I'm never going to be able to accomplish my goal because I have too much baggage going on. Instead of having this growth mindset saying, you know what, I have this happening, but I want to live for my dreams, I want to take care of my family, and I can do both, and I can set myself up to make my family in a better position than they are. So I think a lot of people have that fixed mindset where they have people telling them that this is how they need to live their life, this is what they need to do, but really it's that center of locus where if you focus internally in what you want to do, you can do anything you want. You just can't allow yourself mentally to be defeated, because you're going to have days where we're better than others, where everything's not going well. But I think the good thing about those days is you're able to sort of learn an opportunity. You can grow from that and say, you know what, I didn't have a good day today, but I wake up, today's a fresh new day, I'm back at it. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep on growing, and eventually I'm going to be able to reach my goal because I didn't put limiters on myself.
So glass half full, not glass half empty.
Exactly.
I feel like a lot of people fall into that trap, and I think it's just sad to see someone give up like that. You know what I mean? And just resort to never trying. And I feel like I see it way too often. Or maybe, I think another thing, part of it is to have people in their ear telling them, well, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. No, you don't need to focus on that dream. You don't need to focus on that. You need to focus on this or that. Yeah. And I think people get torn down, but as long as you keep that mentality, I think even if you have one person in your circle who is going to say stuff like you're saying, really tell you the truth, and look, man, if you want to do this, no one's going to come help you. You got to get up every day. Kevin Hart had a quote. He was like, this is a quote I'm making, but he said this. He was like, no matter how bad I feel every day, the sun's going to come up and fall. Regardless how long I stay in bed, regardless of how much I beat myself up, how much I don't try, the sun's going to come up and it's going to go down. That's a day lost. So I can sit in bed and feel depressed, or I can get up and at least do something so I benefited, like you said, from that day. So the next day, brand new day, if you do that every day for a month, but you were depressed that entire month, at least you did a little bit. You just grew probably 2 times as much as you would have if you were just feeling sorry for yourself. You know what I mean? Like you said, giving up, putting limiters on yourself. And I think that's really true. And I've worked jobs, right? I've worked these low part-time jobs that, people kind of gave up. I've seen some people give up, or maybe some people turn to that mindset. And it's almost soul-sucking, I feel like, whenever you see that. And you have people in your ear telling you that. It's almost repulsive to where I don't want it to contain me and make me start taking on that thought process, because that shuts you down, right? You can't be creative. You're not as productive. You're just man, you always have these thoughts in your head. I think that's another important detail, is to make sure you're around people who are going to give you that inspiration and tell you things like Prof. Goodwin's telling us, because if you don't, it's going to make getting your dream and having just an overall good life 10 times harder. And that's what I've noticed. I've used to hang out with people like that, where I'd hang out with them and they, sometimes they'd just be talking bad about people, or just negative. And every time I leave the hangout, I'm like, man, do I feel better today, or was that just like draining? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had to ask myself those questions, and I had to make some tough decisions from there about how I want to conduct myself going forward. And that's not to disrespect them or to belittle them, because they're on their own path, their own journey. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, I was like, okay, I need to take a step back because I'm not doing X, Y, Z right now, because this is, I think that might be contributing to it. So it is essential to make sure, I think, you keep people in your ear that are telling you those things.
Right.
And I think another thing too about it is, say you're married and you're in a marriage, but the person that you're with isn't telling you those things, right?
Right.
They're like telling you
what you want to hear.
yeah, you need to go do this, you need to do that, I want this, I want that. It's like, well, okay, I can do that, but this is what I really want to do. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it too, is these relationships
That's
that people
true.
are building that aren't productive for each other really at all. So that's why I guess I
Right.
digress with that. But
Sometimes you gotta just, let them know, like, this is what you want to do sometimes. And sometimes they'll let you do it depending on the relationship.
yeah.
Other times they'll be like, oh, nah, you got responsibilities, but at the same time, y'all can talk it out, I'm pretty sure. If y'all are married, y'all probably can talk it out because y'all been married, but
Sometimes.
So
sometimes.
but that's the communication. That's why divorce rates are
communication.
high, just
Right,
because
exactly.
people aren't
Lack of
communicating
communication
very
skills.
well. But see, that's why I really loved what you said, that there's a thing that's called energy takers and energy givers. Like an energy giver is going to keep you motivated, and these are positive people that are going to be in your life. Some people, just reevaluating your friends, you start seeing that you're growing at different rates than they are. So the people that you hanged out in the past, you realize that you're trying to do things, and they're still trying to do the things they did like in high school.
Yeah.
And you got to just say, you know what? Hey, I appreciate you. I'll see you at the high school reunion. But, at this point, I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to elevate where I'm trying to go. So you have to make some decisions.
Sure.
Yeah. It really is like that.
Right. You don't have to be disrespectful or nothing. You just got to know where to spend your time. You can be cool with them. You don't have to be like, oh, no, I'm better than you. I'm moving on. You can just be like, hey, just like don't spend as much time with them. It's not like they're forcing you to hang out with them all the time. If they ask you to go out, be like, nah, I got to focus on my grind.
And that's the thing too. It's with those people, I didn't ever want to completely say forget about you, but it's kind of like, hey, look, if you're gonna keep doing these activities X, Y, Z, then we're gonna have to, And I wouldn't even tell them straight up like, oh, I'm not gonna start talking to you, because it's kind of just like, okay, I'll see you around, And I just observe how are they hanging out, and they invite me, hey, you come out and do this with us, and I'm like, you know what, man, I got hit the gym, I gotta do X, Y, Z. And I feel like you just naturally, when you start doing that, like you said, like taking that step back, you naturally just separate. It's almost like overnight.
I feel like when you do stuff like that, you naturally get the people that you want to be around you. Like if you find like different things, techniques that you're doing to improve yourself, then the people in that category will probably be around you. You'll find, as long as you work on communicating, and you can find the people that you want around you, as long as you become the person that you want around you.
Yeah, you don't want to become a person that you're not happy with,
Yeah.
or just become a person that you completely don't recognize because you're not able to grow.
Right.
Because some people, believe it or not, never grow and they stay the same way their whole lives. They just keep on doing the same things, have the same mentality, not reading books, not learning, hanging out with the same friends. They're not able to see anything because they've gotten so used to this set routine about living their lives that that's all they can accept, that's all they can think about. So it's almost like they have tunnel vision. Instead of actually opening up and being elastic and being able to see, hey, there's another world out there if I'm willing to try to venture out there and see it, they are stuck in a fixed mindset of, hey, this is the way I'm going to live because it's easy, I've done this forever. And because I think a lot of, not only, people have a lot of fear about what they want to do in their lives. Because if you think about it, you always have like the pressure of what are you going to do in your life? What are you going to do when you graduate college? Are you going to be together? Are you going to find someone? I mean, you have all these pressures society puts on us about what's expected, and sometimes people can't handle the pressure. That's why you have people that become depressed, people that become angry, some people resort to alcoholism. I mean, there's so many things that could happen just because of the pressure of living, because living is not hard. I mean, living, if you do it, if you have, that's why I think, like being a strong Christian believer, having God into your life, He can put you on the right path. But you have to be willing to let Him have the driver's seat. If I was to be like, hey, you know what, I want to do everything that I want to do and ignore God's blessing, ignore what He wants for my life, I'm not going to be happy spiritually. And God has a way of humbling me and saying, hey, you know what, I'm the one that's going to direct your path. And you have to accept it, because some people don't want to accept it. Being able to say, hey, I accept it, God. Whatever happens, see, that's one thing that will happen. Like, anything could happen to me, and I realize God's got my back. So if I do something and there's a problem, I'll pray about it and be like, hey, you know what? I'm going through this. Like, help me with this situation. Give me strength, God. And realize that at the end of the day, everyone's going to be judged. You, me, God's going to judge us in the kingdom of heaven. And I want to make sure that whenever I go, that I don't have any regrets, and God knows that the connection I have with him is authentic.
Wow. I think that's like people who have too much pride. You know, they're too prideful to let go of everything that they're holding, and they're too prideful to even like open up or talk to God or anything, or just like let people know around them or anybody what they're going through, and they just want to like get a path, follow their direct path in their mindset that they think is correct, even if it's not leading them in the correct path, just because they got too much pride or anything to really, you know, decide, hey, maybe what I'm doing isn't right, you know. Think about maybe what I'm doing isn't like good for those around me, good for myself, it's not healthy, you know, and they don't think long term or, you know, open up or like just let go of things, you know. And just, you know, sometimes let God, you know, take control or handle what you need to do or something like that.
Yeah. I always say everyone's idea of God is different. So I think as long as you have something that you believe in, that you say, okay, there's a higher power, and you recognize that, whether you be Hindu, Buddhist, you know, obviously there's different types of religion. I just think having that source to draw from, that power to draw from, is going to give you, like you said, you're not doing it alone, you know what I mean? You're not just isolating yourself. That's why I respect all different religions and different beliefs, because I just think, one, it shows that you're not, like you said, too prideful, because you recognize that, oh, you know, I'm only capable of so much on my own. You need something else, whatever that may be to you, you know, as long as it's a good moral belief system. I'm not talking about like, you know, Satanists or nothing over here. I'm talking about, you know, it's not a corrupt, weirdo religion.
Yeah.
As long as it's, you know, one of those, then I think that's great. I think those people typically recognize, you know, okay, I can't do it alone. I need this power. I need God, whatever you know, recognize God as. And that'll put you on the right path, I think. I always say, as long as you're following that moral standard that you've set for yourself, so you're being a good person, like you said, you're not being an energy taker, you're being an energy giver, because you know all your power comes from God or whatever the case may be. You're just naturally going to bring this good energy around you, and it's going to spread to other people. Versus if you're just cold-hearted, you know, closed off to any belief system or whatever that is. That could be anything. It doesn't have to be religion. You know what I mean? If your religion is using there's a God, a higher power, that still contributes to being a better person, I feel like. And setting those moral standards for yourself, setting those goals for yourself, believing that others and community, really, just having that sense of community around you will ultimately put you on a good path. I think those are good things to have.
Yeah, I think basically values and being able to understand points of views, being open to different, like, not even thought processes than yours, not letting people control, not letting you control basically yourself, locking yourself in a cage, basically. Not locking yourself in a cage, being open to not having control over your life, basically.
For sure.
In a way.
It's all deep. I do want to ask you one question, though, that recently happened. Will Smith, Chris Rock. What'd you think about it?
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. Okay. So first off, I'm just going to say, I think this is being blown out of proportion just for the fact that it's already said and done, and I think people are just living through this instead of actually living their lives. And I think that they just need to focus on doing what they're doing and stop trying to get into someone's business that they don't need to. But the incident itself, you know, I think that it was poor choice by Will Smith. I think that there's also a lot of personal stuff happening in his life right now. It's spiraling out of control. And I think that it was good professional that Chris Rock did decide to retaliate, which he could have, but he decided not to. But from the message from me, from a man of color, I didn't like it, because I feel like it's hard just for a man of color just to win an Oscar as it is in the highest stage. And instead of a moment that people of color should be celebrating, we're looking at it as a historic moment that's now being tampered. Because now, let's just look at children or people saying, well, I saw Will Smith slap someone because they're upset. Why can't I do that? Because I saw my role model doing it to someone else. I look up to him. I'm going to do it because I see my person that I look up to do. So I didn't like that message being sent to the community. And to me, it's just a whole sad offense. I mean, I just think it was just, because here's the thing too, we all make mistakes. Right. I'm not going to sit up here and judge Will Smith saying he is the worst person ever because he did that, because who am I to say that when I've made mistakes in my life? Right. And I think as people, we got to get past that and realize that, hey, he made a mistake. He learned from it. They both apologized. Let's move on. We have other things that we could be focusing on.
Yeah,
but
so true.
The world is just so fabricated, so fixated on this that we're not able to move forward. And I see all these celebrities tuning in about, you know what, he needs to lose his Oscar. You know, he needs to be banned from the academy. I mean, they need to take better measurements. And I think to myself, you know what? He made a mistake. We get it. I do think there should have been security involved, which that was kind of interesting that happened and no security was involved. But I wish it would have been better instead of actually people at the beginning of the day seeing two men of color acting like that. It's something that should have been celebrated in the community. That's my personal thoughts, man.
That's true. That was a good thought.
I like how you said in the beginning. I like how you said people are living through it instead of living their own lives and feeding into it. I think that's a good. No one said that yet. I think that's a good point. I think people are looking for these things to kind of just over dramatize and really just which I mean, honestly, people want something to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So it's good for publicity and maybe conversation, but some people do take it to the extreme and really get behind it. And I think that's a good point. I do want to mention that this camera cut out, so just now.
Just
so
now,
we got everything.
Okay,
we got everything. Yeah.
But
I guess we can finish it out pretty soon.
Before you left, I wanted to ask you that. And I know you're pretty wise, so I had a feeling you were going to give a good answer. And I think that, Will Smith, like you said, it was a moment where it could have been black man wins, Oscar, changing the tide of things. And now people are going to look at it like you said, as a meme. This meme's going to be around for a long time. Yeah, I wanted to ask you that, and I really appreciate you coming on with this. And is there any final thoughts you guys have? Because the audio's still rolling, so we can. Is there anything you guys? Oh, your website.
Okay,
I was going to put that in the description. I'll just put it right here.
Yeah, I could tell you it's Nathaniel/Goodwin.com.
Okay, I'll have that in there. So for sure. I appreciate you coming on. It was a great talk.
Oh, no problem.
That was actually really good. You like anime, hooping. Actually, if you want us to hoop, if you're looking for an extra guy.
You guys really got into that, man. You guys were probably so surprised how sophisticated how we have this thing all put together.
You don't see that very often.
Yeah. I think, can we do that ourselves? No, we ain't that capable.
I cannot get that many guys on the consistent
basis. I mean, it's tough. And I think it's a lot easier just because we have older guys, and a lot of us have schedules. They have wives. We have to get it in the morning because in the evening time everything just goes crazy.
Everyone gets busy. And
so it has to be early in the morning. Otherwise, it's not going to happen at all.
Right. Wow, that's still awesome, man. Getting up, sun's still down. All right, guys, y'all ready?
Yeah.
How's that 3 looking? Because it was looking good last time.
Ooh, it's nonstop, man. Because we love it, man. But it actually gives us motivation. After I'm done hooping and playing basketball, I'm really excited about teaching the class. It puts me in a whole different mindset to be ready to go for my classes because, if you think about it, most people aren't even up at 4:30. They're not moving their body around. They're just going to get up right when they need to get ready to go to work. But I've already had a whole day, had basketball worked out, and I'm already going into my day knowing that I've already did something already.
You already accomplished half the day is already pretty much done. Now you got to do the professor, which takes a long time.
Yeah, it does take some time.
I couldn't imagine. How many papers would you have to grade? How many students do you have?
Oh, this semester,
over
125.
Jeez, and each assignment.
Oh, that's man, yeah. It depends, and some of them each week is different because you're going to be more assignments, papers, reports. So it's a nonstop job. That's some of the things that sometimes I don't sleep just because I'm upgrading and I want to stay on top of it. So
I couldn't imagine because I know usually you give out weekly assignments, at least two in class, and then we have some out of class. So a week that's 5 probably minimum a student. So you're looking up 500 plus assignments.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot, and this is just there's so many different 5 different subjects. I mean it's a lot. And the thing is, if I don't do it, it gets worse and worse because it piles up.
Yeah.
And then I get more emails from students saying, Professor Goodwin, did you grade this?
I
Can you tell me what my grade? Can you tell me what my grade is? Did you not get this? Why did it say missed? I'm just like, I'm getting to it. I promise. Just give me some time.
Yeah, I could only imagine, especially with I thought about that. We talked about that one day. We're like, man, Professor Goodwin probably has a lot of assignments. I'm surprised you reply to my emails every now and then. I'm like, this dude probably has like 1,000 messages right now.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. My email box always gets big just for that reason. But I always look at it. I try to answer emails 24 to 48 hours because I feel like it's something that customer service for students. Like if I don't answer emails, and students are wondering that I don't care about them. So I try my best to answer the email within 48 hours, just so I let the student know that I am seeing what they did, and I want to respond to them. So I do know that I value their time.
That's honestly, I say that's awesome because some professors do not take that approach. They'll be like, I'll get to it when I get to it, or, And I remember one time in class, you were like, Professor, you're trying to teach us a little bit about just some wisdom, I guess you could say, and just so we don't do anything that's dumb going forward. Like, yeah, don't send emails at 10 o'clock, because if you send them at 10, most of these professors are not going to respond. I think that's so true, because, there's well, after 10, I don't have to do it anymore. But I know, you're, a little bit more understanding. Okay, I'll hit, you even said, I'll hit you back, but, because I'm cool with that, I'm usually grading or something. But just so you guys know, most professors, not all of them are going to have that same level of understanding or care, really. So I think little things like that I can always appreciate, because I'm sure I probably send you a late email at some point.
Yeah, well, because I know usually, especially if I have assignments due 11:59, that usually around that 10 to about 11:50, that's when emails start multiplying. Just because students are panicking, saying, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to do it," or "Can you explain this?" or "Can I have an extension?" That's usually going to happen. But I just think it's common courtesy. I will usually try to respond the next morning if I can, but sometimes things just happen. But I always try to answer within 48 hours just because that's how I want someone to respond to me. Because I did have professors that just didn't even, you would send 5 or 6 emails and they just would not respond.
Not even once?
Yeah, I've had that in college. Some professors don't
care that much.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do got to send multiples. Some of my professors, at least 2, sometimes 3.
Yeah.
That's just,
Well, sometimes it does get lost. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it goes to spam. Sometimes I get it. But there are some professors that, I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but, some of them just are not reactive to emails.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think, that's true. I think that kind of plays into part with everything else you talk about, though, right? You're just when you get up at 6, you're like, I get up there at 4:30 or 5 because I want people to see that I'm going to be here on time so we can get going. And it seems like you just always try to make sure you're keeping the people you're impacting in line, in mind, which is good. I noticed that we talked about how you get up there early. Some
I want them to see. See, that's another thing. I want them to see I'm the first person in the gym, and I mean business.
So a little bit of it is
it is. Because, hey, you guys are just strolling around and getting stressed. I've already did my 3-point shots. I've already stretched my body. I'm ready to go. Yeah. I'm already worked on that. So I think it's a mental thing, honestly. Just because I get there, I'm getting my body ready. They know that I'm serious, that I'm ready to play.
You're hooping. You're ready to go. You better watch out.
You better watch out. That's what I'm saying. Hey, I'm coming. That's what I'm saying. It's like a mental thing. But I think I love it, though. If I didn't love it, then I wouldn't do it then.
If you ever need extra,
we're always trying to add people to the list. That's the thing. The list keeps on growing. And some of these people move out of state and just we keep them on the list. The only way you get removed from the list if you just act like a fool. When I'm talking about act like fools, there are people that just try to fight. We're not trying to fight in the morning. Because some people are like that. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes fouling happens and we deal with it. But we're not trying to have anyone that's going to just fight and try to do things. Because we're professionals. And we all have to go to work. Right. It's not like...
You want to ruin your day.
Ruin my day. I don't want to be going and having to go to the hospital just because of just some person that's trying to fight me. We try to keep the people that are professional and going to act right.
No, it's good.
I thought that one cut out too. But we can keep the audio for podcasts.
Yeah, we can keep the audio.
Yeah, but that's another thing. I play basketball with people who do that. They get so mad. What'd you say, homie? I'm like, bro, shit, I'm trying to hoop. No one is trying to find you over basketball.
Yeah, I mean, but some people like that. They play, they want to fight, or some people. The worst one is the people that are dirty that want to foul you, hurt you, man.
Yeah.
Those are the people that that'll get you kicked out the list. Pretty.
That'll make you question, like, man, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, man. You're trying
is everything good at home, man?
Yeah, if you're trying to like hurt someone or do that, or I mean, because and usually like when that does happen, like after the game, like we'll just say, is everything all right? I mean, all of us would go and say, hey, we noticed this was happening. We just want to make sure you're good, man. Just because it's at the end of the day, it's about fellowship and having a good time and getting exercise.
See, that's great though that you guys do that. I didn't mean to interrupt you, by the way, but
oh no, you're good, man.
that's cool that you guys are like, even though that dude's acting a little wild, you're still like, hey, look, is everything good? Like, I feel like that's just a good league to hoop in. You can send that email if you want to.
Yeah,
if you want a point guard, shifty guy who can dish the ball out, shoot the three a little bit. I'm off the catch.
You catch the catch.
I can get my own shot if I have to, though. But I mean, in the system, I get off the catch at those corner threes. Not that. You guys, Darius.
Yeah, he's solid.
He's
But
solid.
if you want a good team player, that will pass the Goodwin right away. That's what's good.
Actually, when are you guys playing tonight?
What are we playing?
Yeah, what time? You said you were playing in the middle.
Yeah.
What time?
6:30.
6:30. Yeah.
You know what? I might check y'all out a little bit because I don't have to. My game is at 8, so I could probably check y'all out for about 30 minutes.
Oh, for the games are like
Yeah.
40 minutes.
40 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably
20
check y'all out
halves.
about 30 and then probably go to my game. So I'll
Okay.
probably do that.
Yeah.
Are you playing over here in Broadhurst?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Broadhurst.
Broadhurst, yeah.
We're playing a lower ranked team, so
Yeah.
if it's close, then we fail. It shouldn't be that close.
Yeah, I might check y'all out, man, just because I got time to kill. I mean, I'll probably just eat some dinner at the calf and then probably check you guys out
yeah.
and then probably then head off to my game. So
Okay, for sure. Yeah, you'll see. It's now we gotta check our ego a little bit. Not trying
Yeah.
to get we gotta scan the gym. We're trying to get picked up. We're trying to get on that list. I'm going
you try to go.
He's on a professional league. Y'all. We trying to do.
This guy's a real hooper. 6 a.m. I gotta get my shot in the gym. Extras getting shots up.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
funny, man.
It's fun. I mean, this team. I'm not trying to underestimate them, right? We
Yeah.
we always gotta respect the opponent.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you look at the record,
Yeah.
we should take care of it. We're like number 4 right now out of 9, I think. So we're in the top.
Oh,
4.
is it the team we beat last time?
No, it's
No.
Braden's team.
Braden's team?
Yeah, but their best
Oh.
player's not even going to be there. So I mean, I don't want to underestimate
Okay.
them, but I
Yeah,
think
we better not underestimate him, but
it should be an easy
You should have some fun tonight. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying? You
It'll
guys
be-
play
should
the way you
relax.
play the way you
I
play.
might have some overroom to dunk. That's all I gotta say. I'm gonna have a little overroom.
We played the hard
That's-
team. We got it. We secured a good seed. So now we're finna roll into there. We'll be middle of the pack. We're probably going to play. We're a little bit higher than middle of the pack. We're top.
You're top 3.
We'll play. Well, the Angels team won. So there's
team?
3 teams that are. We'll be number 4. Looking at the bracket. looking at the records.
How many teams are in the league? All right,
9.
9. Okay.
9 or 8.
We'll be number 4.
Do you play everyone, or is it
We only
play
lost
once?
2
Or you play
games,
them
though.
twice.
We play.
We
We play
play
everyone. We play them
once.
once though.
But then, once we make it to the finals, we'll replay the people that we lost to. I'm pretty sure.
Well, yeah, the playoffs will
Okay.
be seeded
The
like
playoffs.
NBA style.
Is
so
it single elimination?
single.
Yeah. single
So you got to bring it, huh?
We gotta bring
You
it.
gotta bring it,
Luckily,
yeah.
the first team we're gonna play is the Shady 580 team, which is the
Oh,
team with
really?
the varsity hooper that we beat in overtime.
Oh, dang. We
That
got
was
to
a
go to
clutch
work,
game.
though.
We gotta tell
We
them
had to
about
go
that.
to overtime, so we was all out. We had 5 thirds. We were
Oh,
drained,
my
bro.
goodness.
Oh, you only had 5. You guys?
Yeah, we only had 5
Oh
at
man,
that
that's
time.
tough, man.
Yeah, bro.
We what was it? We were down by 5 with. I mean, we were down all game. They started off the game just splashing threes, 4 straight threes. 12
Yeah,
of
we
them,
was not
like
ready.
that. And
Just
then
beginning, but yeah.
we started locking in. We started playing better D. Had little buckets in the first half. We started getting our rhythm going. For second half, we were coming back. We went down for a little bit there. Loki started pulling away. They're up by like 10, I think, at one point,
Yeah.
and then we just kept going.
Yeah.
And like obviously,
I think because we got a lot of distance players too, so we can go the long run. At the end of the day, even if they're more athletic, we're not gonna tire out. You feel me?
Oh, so you got like good endurance
Yeah.
players.
Yeah,
that
we
just
got
keep
good
on-
endurance players, so we just
They were pretty quick, athletic.
Oh yeah, the Will and them, but
Yeah.
they run a lot too, and they're quick, so they get down under them.
We're not that big.
And then, yeah.
Well, Darius is probably our tallest
Me
player.
and my
Him
brother,
his brother Cedric.
So you probably just
rebounders.
are you running gun type style,
Me?
or you just guys just pretty much push
we
the
have-
ball, or you just
We
not-
like
We have a good balance.
Yeah, we have a
honestly,
good
everybody.
balance.
We have like guard. Like I said, me and Ward like the guard. Like typically the guards. Darius like the 3.
We like to
the
get
4.
movement in too, so we can get the
Yeah.
ball moved.
So
little
everyone, you got like that motion offense where everyone's
Yeah, a
moving
little
without
bit.
the ball.
Ah man, I
A
want
little
to
bit.
move a little bit more.
Yeah, we don't- we don't-
Hey,
yeah, we don't like-
hey, dude, that helps a lot. If everyone's moving, because you
right.
guys have that endurance, and you have people
That's
picking,
true.
and you have people cutting, It makes the game so
we
much easier.
We always got people picking and cutting, but
picks,
we don't move the ball too much but
Yeah.
we move it when somebody gets open too.
We have I would say the good thing about our team is is balanced. Like we have a good roster, I would say, because we have the guards, we have the in between player, and then we have the bigs. So it's kind of like it flows pretty solid. Yeah, and I would say, yeah, it's good. Like that game, for example, we were down by 5, and we just came together. Like everyone, I don't know what. So what happened was we were down by 5 with less than a minute. I'm gonna toot my horn a little bit, right? So I caught the ball. This guy was talking smack. He's like something. I forgot what he said. Anyway, tween, cross. Like this is like probably 25, 26 feet. I'm telling you, this is deep. Hand in mouth, doesn't matter. I just, he fouls me. They didn't call it. Splash. Like less than a minute. So it was one of those moments.
Yeah, you did.
One of those, but then obviously I got back up.
And then we made a distance after, but yeah.
And then Will got the steal. I think that was
Will got the steal.
Once we realized, we were in reach, then everyone just kind of turned up. Will got the steal, which added even more. Like I feel like that was what really got us going. And we had a layup with 20 seconds left, tied up the game.
True.
And I went down there and tried to hit a clutch bucket, but he fouled me, but I let it slide. I ain't gonna diss the refs too much. It was a good game.
I mean, what's hard, B? I mean, you guys get fouled a lot, but the refs ain't gonna call it because they want to keep the game going.
They want to keep it going.
Or
exactly. They do.
Yeah, they
That's
do.
why they don't call
make
myself
some
a lot.
wonky calls. Like sometimes, they'll even say, "You know what? I know that was a foul, but I gave it to the other one, so." Well, I said I gave them that one, so I'm gonna give you this one or something crazy. I'm like, bro, put the foul, just call it. That was dope, man.